Play ball! Blue 22! Hike, hike, hike!
You are watching Sports and Sorts live on YouTube. That's 75% sports, 25% sorts. And here are your hosts, Shane and the Bri Man.
That's what she said. Title of your sex tape. Get in the hole.
Monday, Memorial Day weekend. It is not as nice as I was expecting it to be today. All the weather kept on saying that today was going to be a nice day up until like yesterday evening. It was like, oh no, it's going to be cloudy, but still be warm. And then today it's like, no, we're going to get a little rain and it's going to be cloudy all day. And
Yeah.
what are you going to do? What are you going to do?
What you gonna do?
Although I am supposed to be playing golf today at 4:30. Well, I mean, barring rain or something like that. I mean, I'm not going to be like Phil and Tiger and all that.
It's not going to rain. It's just going to be fun. Actually, you might have a good golf day.
Yeah, it might be all right. I was planning on wearing shorts. I think I'm going to have to wear pants now. I don't know. It's like, white people problems.
Oh, God. Yeah. I'm so sorry for your white privilege.
So I'm supposed to play golf today, and I'm actually supposed to have a match. I'm playing against a kid who is...
A match, not the match.
Yeah, well, it's the match for us. And it's more of a friendly competition than it is anything else, but we're supposed to be playing a match today, stroke play. And we're going to, because he's around the same handicap as I am, but he's probably
Like,
a 10.
8?
A 10. I'm an 8. So
Yeah.
around
I know
there
you're
right
an
now.
8, yeah.
I was a 10 last year, improved over the winter, and I've been slowly
Got your
improving.
simulator.
Yeah, and I played from the tips recently. That is a golf term. I played from the Great Neck Country Club Tiger Tees. How about that? I'll say that.
There you go. Okay, that's good.
And
Just the tips.
and I shot 4 over from their furthest distance, so I thought that was pretty good. I shot a 39.
That's unbelievable.
And so
I would have literally. Would you shoot a 39? So I would have shot a 78. An actual 78.
On 9 holes. That'd have been great. But the so yeah,
Yeah.
and I did not hit one fairway the whole round, and I still shot 4 over. So I was very pleased with that. I wasn't like all over the map. I missed a couple fairways by like a couple yards here and there. I drove it through the fairway once because I hit a bomb. I hit like a 310-yard bomb.
Did you hit like a Phil Mickelson 390-yard bomb?
No,
and
not
actually
390.
Overshoot the hole.
No. I did not do that. I'm not that good. But I did hit a nice bomb dead center. But I carried it to the end of the fairway, and it hit into the rough, which is very thick rough there. And it unfortunately, because I pushed the drive a little bit to the right, so therefore I was not on my line, and if I hit my line, very narrow fairway, I would have been great, but I wasn't. So I probably would have that ball, if I hit the fairway, because it would have landed right in front of like this where it starts to go downhill, probably would have been a 340-yard drive. It was crushed.
Wow.
I annihilated it. But yeah, I hit it into the rough a little bit, so I only got a 300-yard drive. So, but it was a fun round, and then I'm looking to play today, and I'm hoping to take the dub today. So we'll see how it goes. Walking 9 over at the Jones course at Lyman. So we'll see, and I'm going to see how that is. I've been terrified to play the Jones course at Lyman because it's always busy, and I'm sure it's going to be busy on Memorial Day. But I'm guessing in the evening when we're supposed to tee off at 4:30 that it's going to be a little bit slower because people are going to be in there picnicking and doing all that stuff instead. So it's like that's more of a probably before 2.
Do you wear a mask like when you do it, or
not when I golf? Because I only played with my in-laws and my son. And then I play with this guy Tyler, who's I think he's like 25, 26.
Yeah.
And the closest we ever get to each other is like 10 feet.
Yeah.
We never really we don't touch anything that's the same. Last time we played, he drove, he was in a cart and I walked. So we were always far away. And then I would pop my cart, a good 15, 20 feet away from his cart, and just then he would go up and hit his ball, and then I would wait for him to leave the tee box, and I'd go up and hit my ball. And it didn't. I mean, it was only a 2-hour round too, and I was walking a very hilly course. The player course is very hilly, so I was very pleased with how that was. But it was during the week. And not a Memorial Day weekend. So it was a little bit different. I think it was a Wednesday. Monday. It was a Monday, last Monday. And, but yeah, now, it's good, but I didn't wear a mask. I do bring it though.
How do they work this with because obviously you have to go into the clubhouse and pay, right?
Nope.
So, okay. All right. No. How have they set that up to be sort of like contactless?
Like pay over the phone.
Pay over the phone.
Yeah. You pay over the phone.
And then what you get there and
the starter, basically you call in to check in. And he's like, okay, you go up to the tee box.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and you won't anywhere near the starter. There's no starters out there. I did not. I only saw a couple of employees out there, and it were just mowers. That's it. And
so then you really have no. It's pretty minimal in terms of you coming into contact with anybody else.
Yeah.
That's good.
I
didn't realize how they were doing it.
Yeah, that is. I mean, and they've been expanding. So usually tee times are 8 minutes apart.
Yep.
And they've gone up to 10. Okay. So that's an additional 2 minutes that they're in between. And they do that at Great Neck too. Great Neck is not as, country clubs typically all their members play and they're all done by noon.
Yeah.
Like they don't play in the afternoon very much. So, and that's when we play. We play usually around 3:00. So the course is almost empty. So unless it's a beautiful day, but if it's not, the course is pretty much empty and we just we don't see anybody really.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even when we get to there, I always park in a certain area. And then by the time I get back, there might've been 50 cars in the parking lot, and they're all over the place. But by the time we're done, there's 10, because all the people that teed off at 12 are done.
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah, they go home. So,
and
they're not. A lot of places aren't opening up their restaurants and their clubhouses. You can't even go in and go in there.
Yeah.
So they're doing that too. So
good.
Yeah,
it's good.
It is. It is good. It's different. You can't touch the flags. Lyman has the little hooks where you take your club and you pump it up, or you use your foot to get the ball out of the hole.
Yep.
So you don't even have to reach in. They don't have the foam containers. It's a legit hole. Whereas at Great Neck they have foam in there. So if it goes in, it's just you can still see the top of the ball. So you don't have to really reach in. Yeah. So yeah, it's they're doing what they can.
It's pretty good.
And yeah. So I'm looking to play. I'm looking forward to play today. I'm
excellent.
I got a match going on. Speaking of the match, let's get into some golf. Let's get into the match with Phil, Tiger, Tom, and Peyton. It's great that you can just mention it all by name, by first name. You know who we're talking about. But I will say, barring him doing a lot of golly gee and gosh gee whizzes and your birthday buddy, Tom Brady, just proves again why he is the polar opposite of you. Because he's out there and he hits a bad shot. He hits a bad shot and he's like, oh, gee whiz.
Oh, yeah, no, I know.
You'd be throwing your club, yelling at the gods.
Oh, I would. I'd be yelling at it. I'd be yelling at
swearing up a storm.
I'd be like the old man yelling at the cloud in The Simpsons. Yeah. That's me. That's me. Old man yelling at the cloud.
Yeah. So and he's out there and he's like, oh, gee whiz. Oh, gosh darn. That's him out there. And it was very funny to see. But I will say, out of all the people playing yesterday, I will give Tom Brady some credit. And I don't particularly love to give him credit, but he was the only one that I really heard talking any legitimate smack.
Oh, especially with Charles Barkley, yeah.
Yeah, but he would hit a ball, and I even heard him say something to Peyton too.
Mm-hmm.
He would hit a ball in the center of the fairway or something like that, and Peyton would fly it over their head, and he would say something. And he would smile and laugh and kind of
Let's be honest. I mean, you had 4 incredibly accomplished individuals on that course yesterday, but of the 4, I mean, Tom and Tiger are the most accomplished by far.
Yeah.
And I mean, depending on how you weigh, measure major championships in golf versus Super Bowls, Tom's theoretically the most accomplished.
Yes.
Or it's close, I mean, they're both kind of, Tiger's probably more of an icon, but Tom's the ultimate winner. But and the ultimate cheater. But I will say this for Tom Brady. He gave you I'll tell you what. He did show you though the kind of competitor he is. And I'll take a lot of things away from him based on the fact that I think he is, again, I'll say it again. I believe Tom Brady in football has cheated multiple times, whether he's been part of a larger Spygate thing or whether he was in fact deflating football. All that notwithstanding, the guy is, when it comes to competitors, he is the ultimate competitor. Yeah. He is a Jordan-esque competitor. I won't quite put him in that category because I don't know anybody's in that category.
No. Especially after watching this documentary.
Tom Brady is he is an incredible competitor. And I will say this for him. He gave you a very typical Tom Brady moment yesterday. He was taking a lot of shit from a lot of people, specifically Charles Barkley. And he goes up there on I don't know what hole that was. Was it the 7th or 8th? I don't know what hole it was. And he puts in that shot from 150 yards out, right? Yeah. From the fairway, holds it, right? And he immediately starts talking shit to Barkley. Yeah. And he basically says, take some medicine there. Yeah. And that was so Tom Brady, because what has Tom Brady made a living off of? Tom Brady has made a living off of people criticizing him and telling him he can't do things. And then in the next available moment, he goes out and proves that person wrong. It was as Tom Brady a moment as you could really possibly get. And of course it was nauseating for people like me who can't stand him. And you know what was funny? Yesterday, this is how much, and you know how much I love Phil because you love Phil. But this is how much I hate Tom Brady, that I was actually rooting for Manning and Tiger yesterday. Because I could not root for Tom Brady. I couldn't. I could not do it. I absolutely was unable to will myself, as much as I love Phil, to root for Tom Brady. But also, am I the only one who thought that Tiger Woods looked like Mike Tomlin with that beard? There were like angles, and I'm like, Jesus, he looks like the Steelers coach. He looks like Mike Tomlin right now. That beard really, I don't know what it was.
I know.
There was something about it.
Yeah. But I don't particularly love the beard on him, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't love it either, but you know what? Whatever. He's an older guy now. He
can do whatever he wants.
He can do it. I will say this for Tiger. Oh my God, this condition that he's in. Yeah. The shape that he is in.
You even mentioned it with Phil too. He's been in the gym.
Phil went through a transformation. But also, did he have calf implants? I mean, we never see his calves because he always has pants on. But holy shit!
No,
his calves are.
So you clearly don't follow him like I do. He talks about his calves from Adonis.
I know he does, but like then you really get to like see it, and I was like, Jesus.
No, yeah, he's got
those things are impressive.
Yeah, his calves are his pride and joy.
They really are, and I can see why. And he's got like really nice smooth legs. I don't want this to get weird, but
Well, I'm certain.
I'm
certain there might be some shaving going on.
Hey, listen, if I had calves like that, which I actually kind of used to have pretty decent calves back in the day, not anymore though. But if I had calves like that, I'd probably shave my legs too, just to walk around. So like every step you take, it's like a flex. It's like a pose every single time the dude took a step. I don't know how much time I spent watching his calves yesterday. It was really weird. I will say though, I watched the whole thing, and it was.
I didn't watch the whole thing. I took a couple holes off. I went for a walk because I was like, man, 3 down. I'm like, ugh. I had to come back.
I had to make dinner at one point too. It was getting late. Yeah. I had to make dinner and all that, so I was kind of in and out of it. But I always had it on in the background as I was going in and out of the house because I was grilling chicken and stuff like that. So, but I will say this. It had some good drama that, Tiger and Peyton got 3 up early, held on to it for a while. Phil and Tom clawed their way back and made it interesting. Not the last hole, really, they didn't. I was kind of hoping for some drama on that last hole.
I wanted the wedge off so bad.
I know, that would have been fun.
That would have been so much fun.
Because actually, Phil would have won that.
Probably.
They would have won.
My favorite moment, I had a couple of them yesterday, but my favorite moment was when Phil was chatting with Tiger. By the way, Tiger, I don't know what the guy does when he's off camera. Clearly he does some things that are a little interesting sometimes. I don't know if he does them anymore, but when the camera's off, I don't know what this guy does, but he does not talk smack very much. He doesn't really say, like, I don't know if it's different. Like, even Phil, like, I want to see more. That's why, like, you might have to do something like with Bubba and all that kind of stuff. Because Bubba Watson, he's known to like talk some serious smack throughout. Like, he'll hit a shot and like literally like chat you all the way down the fairway and kind of like, really try and dig in. So you might need to get some people like that, maybe like Keisner or something like that to kind of get out there and play in these matches as well. But I will say my favorite moment was when Phil and Tiger they were around the fairway. Tiger was on the green and Phil was up and he's like, you going to go up there and mark your ball? And Tiger's like, I'm not going up there to mark my, like, what? No, there's no way I'm going to drive all the way up there to go. He's like, come on. And Phil's like, come on, put the work in, go up there and go and mark your ball. And he's like, no, I'm not going to mark my ball. Why are you making me mark my ball? And he's like, this is ridiculous. And he's like, well, if I hit your ball, I get to hit another shot. Yeah. And he's like, no, he's like, you hit my ball, I'll give you the hole. Yeah. And Phil came within inches of hitting that ball. And Phil was like, I'm hitting that fucking ball. Like he was going for it. And he almost hit it. That was tremendous. That was fun. My favorite thing easily of all of this yesterday was actually the Phil Mickelson tutorial, because I loved watching him, and first of all, it was great to see Brady defer, obviously, to the pro. Right. But I loved watching Phil give the tutorial. I loved watching him. And it was great, too, because everything Phil said to Brady basically came to light. It came to fruition. So, like, they're reading, he was doing a green read on one of the holes. Yeah. And Tom hit a nice putt. Didn't go in, but he hit a really nice putt, and it broke exactly at the spot Phil told him it would break. I mean, I enjoyed that. Like, that was like the X's and O nerd out part for me, I guess, of it, that I really enjoyed the most. Plus, Phil, and you know what I love about Phil, too, is, and let's be honest, golf is not like other sports where sometimes athletes become mentors and tutors. It doesn't really work that way. You're not doing that when you're playing. It's as individual a sport as can be. So you don't get any of that in golf. You don't get an opportunity to hear golfers share their knowledge with other golfers. That's never going to happen in a competition. But something like yesterday, it did, and that was actually really fun to see. It was like getting free lessons from a not just a pro, but a future Hall of Famer and an all-time great. I was kind of talking with Cam about it too. It was like, because I had been talking with him recently about like the grain and like, uphill, downhill, the grain, which way it's moving, and like all that kind of stuff that can affect the ball. And, and I was kind of telling him the other day, I'm like, if the grain's going to the left, but you have a little bit of a slant, like going to the right, like they're going to kind of offset each other. So like, it's going to roll more straight than you think, even though it's breaking down to the, it should break down to the right. And he's like, oh, and like yesterday, we're all sitting on the couch at the end, and you hear Phil go, it's downwind, downhill, down grain, or something along those lines. And he's like, so it's going to be pretty straight. And Christine just goes, that's a lot of things to take into account. I was like, yeah. And I think Phil probably, and listening to him do this, like actually mentor Brady as he's going through. If you watched Brady and Phil talk out and Tiger and Peyton talk it out, it's so funny because I feel like Peyton Manning's brain works more like Phil's, because he was the ultimate field general, right? And he thought of he was thinking of everything, and I think that Phil does the same thing. Oh yeah, Phil's like, this is going on, this is going on, this is going on, this is, and so he's taking so many things into account, it almost makes it impossible to be perfect. Whereas Tiger's like, okay, the wind's blowing this way, I'm gonna hit it here because this is what I feel. And like so you saw like served Tiger well. He would go up to Peyton and be like, yeah, I think it's gonna break a little bit outside, like it's gonna go there, and like that's all he really did, because I think that's how he plays. I think he's like, he does the skill, he's got it, he's done the pattern so much, he doesn't need to think about all that other stuff. It's just, and if you look, it took Phil forever to hit his shot. And Tiger would just boom, go up, boom, fairway, boom, fairway. Like, it was just
probably a microcosm for their careers in a way too.
Yeah,
Phil maybe overthinks things a lot.
I think then that's why. Yeah.
Tiger simplifies it, boils things down to its basics, and he's a winner.
Yeah,
Phil's a winner too.
Five majors,
3 Masters.
5 majors in an era where you're playing up against one of, if not the best golfer of all time. Like, that's
right. No, I mean, like, for him to actually have gotten his share of those in the time of Tiger is pretty incredible. But the other thing that
we've gotten to see one of the greatest right-handed golfers of all time, and possibly the greatest left-handed golfer of all time. So, like, that's
I would say so. But the other thing I liked about what Phil did too, and you touched on this, was so he would break it down sort of in this X's and O's kind of way that you kind of almost couldn't decipher. And then Tom would sort of be like, okay, what does that mean? What do you want me to do? And then Phil would say, see that pole to the left there? Aim towards that.
Yeah.
and he did.
Yeah. And then he was like, see where this old cup is?
Yeah.
Like,
right. I
this little divot
that
right
part.
Here. That's what you're supposed to do. I mean, that's like
the other thing that I really enjoyed was just Peyton Manning's babbling banter as he's riding around in his cart. I mean, he just says the stupidest fucking shit, and it's hilarious. He's just a good old hick.
He's a goof.
But he's a goofball, but he's funny, man.
He is.
He's so funny.
I did like his brother's tweet too. He comes out, he's like, "Oh yeah, definitely keep playing. I don't think hard stuff's coming down for a while."
Yeah.
And I will give. So a lot of these, professional athletes like Brooks Koepka donated $100,000 for everybody that was going to do something, and
Russell Wilson
and Dangerous, Wilson he said, "I'll give 100,000 meals to every person that gets it inside 12 feet." And
sure enough, 3 of them.
Sure enough, it was like Tom within 5 feet.
Gets it to within like what, a foot?
Oh, it was 17 inches. Yeah, so it was
that was awesome.
It was like Tom within 5 feet, Phil within 5 feet, and then you have Peyton who hits it within 18 inches, and then Tiger hits it within 25 feet.
Close, right on the green, but not close. So Russell Wilson just helped 300,000 people there.
I mean, $20 million. That's a lot. That's a lot of money, and that was impressive. And I was that's a large chunk of change. So it was really good, and I hope they do something like that again. I have a feeling we're gonna have to do something like that again. Because I don't see this going away very soon. But we will get into that shortly, because the Bri Man rant on Memorial Day is going to happen very soon. But so yeah, I mean, overall the match was fine. It was okay. I wish there was a little more smack talk. I appreciate, and I will give Tom Brady his due, because he definitely was the one that was kind of the most vocal when it came to that. And and you could tell Peyton was nervous. Like, you could tell he was a little nervous in this.
Did you think so? Really?
Yeah. I think he was up a little, because I think he had to focus so hard on the golf game that he was a little uptight when he was holding a club or around. He didn't really. I would expect him to say more funny things while doing stuff. Like, I think if you play golf with him, just randomly go out and play golf, I think that you would get a little bit more fun banter.
You know what I liked about Peyton, though? I liked his approach. He would get up to the tee, or if his shot was on the fairway or wherever, he didn't he would just get it, grip it, and rip it. Yeah. He really didn't. He didn't,
Tiger.
It wasn't like, skulking over the ball, taking different angles, taking his tie. He would get up and you know what? And he actually had a very nice, free and easy swing.
He should have a couple of times, got up to the ball, stopped, came back, went down, said Omaha, then come back and then go hit. Yeah. Like, come on.
I still thought he was funny. Listen,
he was funny.
Overall,
he was funny in his just chatter when he wasn't like.
Yeah. Well, exactly. Like when he was in the cart.
Yeah.
And he was,
Like I said, the whole thing about the Georgia Bulldogs and wearing red and black and all that stuff. He's like, but I did think his pink shirt and his pink putter grip, those were straight fire. I love that. I want a pink putter grip so bad now. I think that was so awesome. I loved it. I really like that pink putter grip. I think that was straight fire. I like
It was an entertaining few hours,
Yeah.
and it was something that I think was a nice, a very welcome distraction is the word that we keep using now for anything that we get that takes our minds off of what else is going on.
For
So
sure.
it was fun.
For
I liked it,
sure.
and I'm glad they went through with this. I hope they do another one. I don't know what they would do for the third act, because now Tiger and Phil each have one, so that you have to have a tiebreaker.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I would guess that wouldn't happen for another year because I think.
Oh, they're going to be so busy.
I think
they're starting soon, and it's going to be like match after match, and like in the majors are going to be coming. I think are they doing two majors? Are they going to? Because they're not going to do all four, are they?
No, but they're doing the Masters in November.
Yeah, and they're going to like kind of. It's going to be. The
I'm
whole
looking forward
season's
to
going to
that.
be really cramped. So like,
I'm actually looking forward to the Masters in November just because I want to see Augusta in the fall. I think that'll be pretty.
Yeah, that could be cool.
I think it'll be really cool.
Be interesting to see.
Although by that point, depending on, I mean, the leaves may have. I don't know. I mean, Georgia weather is obviously different than the Northeast, so I don't even know. Hell, I don't even know if they get turned leaves in Augusta. It still shit might all be green in November. I have no idea.
Could be. I don't know.
I mean, although if they're dumb, if that dumb governor of theirs has any say, that state will be completely shut down by the time we get to November.
Winter rules too. Are they going to be in effect? Like you hit it into the leaves, you can't find it, and you just get to pick it up and drop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I have a feeling that course will not have any leaves
something
on it.
Something tells me that course will be pristine by the time this rolls around. But yeah, nice event yesterday. I was texting with you a bit. I was texting with my brother, and it was good. It was a decent event. They did a nice job with it, and I have enjoyed both of those so far. So.
Yeah. I think this one was a little bit more fun. And it was in the rain. It was fun to see them play in the rain. I liked all their carts. They're all
they're custom carts.
Those are kind of cool. But yeah, I really want to see a little bit more chatter. That's really what I want to see.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree. That's what I wanted to see.
I wonder if there would have been more if maybe the conditions hadn't been what they were. I mean, it also towards the end too, as it was getting dark, it felt like they were just kind of trying to, all right, we gotta get going here.
Yeah. It was entertaining. It was entertaining enough. Sorry, I keep poking my head out because we have a new addition to the family.
Yes, I know.
Callie, aka Callaway. New black lab mix, probably a pointer mix.
Do you have Callaway clubs? Was this a golf thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I have Callaway Apex Pro irons.
Okay, there you go.
I'm looking to get a Maverick driver whenever I eventually can get fit because I'm not going out to get fit this year. So I've considered. I was going to do that and then I never did. And there she is.
Let's see her.
I can't. What? Can you see her?
Oh yeah. Oh, look at her. She's beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, I said, can you see her? And my phone thought I said Siri.
Yes. Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. No, I don't want you. So yeah, that's her. She's very cute.
That's awesome. And I'm sure the kids love her.
Yes, they are. And we've had her for like 36 hours. So maybe a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
Closer to 40 hours, I guess. But
is she adjusting well?
Yeah. I mean, she's been having a difficult time. It's adoption. She had an original family that wasn't able to take care of her the way that they should have because she had like some kind of like mange, some kind of dermatologic mange thing that was a mite that they have, that all dogs have, but some dogs have it so where they kind of makes them very itchy and they end up losing some fur. So that's what happened to her. And she had like a decent amount of fur loss. And then she was placed into the foster family, and the foster family like would give her baths like regularly and gave her the medicine that she needed, and things kind of got better, and she's got more fur now. It's still not 100% grown in, but she definitely has more fur. And then they said it could kind of come back with the stress of the travel and all that kind of stuff coming here because she came from Tennessee. But so far she seems to be doing pretty well. We gave her a bath the first day and she was great in the bath. She just kind of sat there and didn't even shake once.
No, really?
Like until we were completely done,
Probably
like rubbing
pretty
her
used
down
to
with
it.
a towel. Yeah. So gave her a nice bath. Coat looks great. And then, she's been a little more itchy today. So I think that the was a little bit,
Yeah.
and
Sure.
as it should be. I
Sure.
know I'd be pretty stressed out if I got thrown into a family that I didn't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's doing well. I kind of rejigged the doggy door that we have so that she can get out
Good.
a little bit more safely.
Right.
And then and she's not 100% with the doggy door yet, but
Yeah.
all in due time. All in due time.
You still have a cat, right?
Cat was not happy.
I was gonna ask, how did the cat? Because the cat's older, right?
Oh, cat's 20.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So the dog. So this is what's funny. The dog she likes to play with other animals. Like she's not like rough or anything, but she likes to play. Like she likes to like kind of goof around, and
Yeah.
so she saw the cat and she was kind of going over and like getting ready to like, and the cat was immediately,
Yeah.
and she was like, and the dog would like went back,
Yeah.
was like, oh,
Yeah. Yep.
okay, I
Yeah,
see
you don't want these claws.
I see you.
You don't want these claws.
And then of course, they separated and
Yes.
went about their way, and then my cat, which she spends a lot of time in the basement anyway, went down to the basement and just stayed down there, and then came back. Like her food and everything's down there, so it's all good. And then eventually they came back up because we want to keep introducing them, make them comfortable. And Christine had the cat, and the dog was like trying, like went up on her hind legs to go, which we don't like the dog getting up, jumping up anyway, but like went up on its hind legs, and the cat like went whoo, like that, and like didn't even hit the dog, but the dog like went down to the ground. It was like whoo,
Yeah.
like what's going on? And then she like got back up and like started wagging her tail, and it was like, she's like, okay, that thing doesn't. I don't want to mess with that thing right now. So like, it's been and the cat's come up and kind of like looking around, like what's going on up here? Goes over, drinks out of the dog's water dish, and then comes back downstairs.
Nice.
She's so spiteful.
The petri dish.
Yeah.
Drinks out of the...
So yeah,
share some germs.
It's fun. It's good. The dog is, she's really started to finally get her sleep in. So which is nice because, the first day it was tough.
You got to rescue.
Every time that we moved.
That's a great thing.
Yeah. Every time we moved anywhere, particularly with Christine, because she got her off the truck. So like when she got her off the truck, like she's immediately like right on her. And as soon as like we would leave the room, she's like following us. Like, where are you going? What's going on? Like, like, no, we're coming back. Don't worry, we're coming back. Like, we'll be back. And so we had to like, I made the whole family like, we have to all leave and leave the dog here by itself for like 5 to 10 minutes. And when it stops whining, then we can go back inside. And because we don't want to give her a treat of, you whine, we'll come back.
Right.
So we just waited for the dog to stop whining, and then waited about 2 minutes, and then went back inside. It took about 10, 12 minutes, tops. Dog whined for about 5 minutes, and then we just kind of hung out in the driveway and waited, and then went in and came back. The dog was very happy, and I think at that point right there, she was a little bit more comfortable. Like, oh, they're coming back. So we're going to continue to do that, and just trying to get her comfortable. But during this quarantine time, someone's always going to be home. So
again, another positive to have come out of COVID-19 is the amount of pet adoptions and from rescues. I mean, the rescue shelters are actually they're like barren.
Yeah. I am so nervous for when this is all over. I have a feeling there are going to be a lot of dogs because yes, it's great that people are doing this, but a lot of people are losing jobs. A lot of people don't have any money. Yeah. How are they going to afford these animals?
It's true.
How are they going to afford their mortgage? All this stuff that's going on. Like, there is a lot of issues.
Yeah.
How are they going to keep it going when all's said and done? I just get nervous. But that's me being the pessimist thinker when it comes to the financial sides of things. Anyway, so that's just how my brain works. That's the first thing I thought about.
No, that's okay.
So, all
A
right.
lot of us are thinking those kind of things.
Yeah. And speaking of the coronavirus and where things are headed, let's get into the Bri Man. Since we talked the Phil and Tiger match to death, 1-1. There's going to be another one. I don't know what they're
Yeah.
going to do for it, but
The
there's going to
only-
be another one. And I don't know where it's going to be, but it's going to happen.
The
Now,
only other sports news we have for you is that Governor Andrew Cuomo of New York has given sports teams in the state the okay to basically resume operations. Within COVID-19 guidelines and
go ahead, practice.
social distancing guidelines. Yeah, basically start practicing, start revving up, and then obviously the leagues and all the organizations will figure out the best and the best way to do this without putting anybody in danger. That's hopefully, and maybe for us, maybe that means we get some baseball soon, which would really be welcomed. It really would be. But again, not at the risk of putting people in danger, putting people in harm's way. And I think that kind of segues into my my rant pretty well. So today is, of course, Memorial Day. And I think what's unfortunately very sadly ironic is that, think about what today is about. It's about us remembering people who gave their lives, some gave all for this country. People who sacrificed themselves in war so that this country could continue to be what it is, that we could have the freedoms that we have. Now, I find this a little bit ironic, especially this morning as I'm watching all these videos of teenagers, it's not just teenagers, but young people in general, gathered at beaches, lakes, pools. Pools are like giant petri dishes right now. It's just disturbing. And the same thing with beaches. They're becoming these outdoor petri dishes too. It's really disgusting. And I find it ironic that on this day, when we honor our fallen heroes who gave so much, who gave everything for us, you have these people out here who are literally and who are figuratively and literally spitting in the face of this. Okay. And they're going out and they're basically saying, screw all the sacrifices that those people make. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to be part of the reason and part of the problem that may cause you to lose your life. So we're recognizing sacrifice today from our military heroes. Meanwhile, young people who can't control themselves going to beaches, going to lakes, going to pools, and are maybe sacrificing either older people, people with compromised immune systems, and whatever, because they just don't care. Because they're selfish, because they are not going to let this disease prevent them from dry humping on beaches and going to pools and hanging out with their friends and getting wasted. And no, I cannot tell you how disgusted I am to see this. And it's every single day. And then, of course, we kind of, I think we were talking before we came on the air about, all of these, just the out of control, privileged, overprivileged white women who now basically all have a universal name, and it's Karen, which is hilarious. Although I have to admit, I feel bad for people named Karen who aren't like this. Yeah. I mean, they really got a bum rap out of this. I mean, like, poor women out there named Karen who actually have lead decent lives. They're taking a beating for this, but hey, it's a day of sacrifice, right? So, anyways, but it's really fucked up that people are going out there and I don't know what it's going to take outside of something bad happening to these people. What will it take for them to realize that we are in the middle of not just a pandemic, but this is you're talking now 100,000 U.S. lives lost. Over 300,000 people have died globally. 5.5 million people on planet Earth have been infected with this. Yep. And while most have recovered or are recovering, And some are asymptomatic, don't feel anything, don't have any problems whatsoever. For quite a few, people are really deathly sick and or are losing their lives. I mean, this thing is not a joke. I mean, I don't know how many. I know at least a handful of people who have gotten it, tested positive for it. We know Clint, who may or may not be watching, he got it, tested positive for it. Thankfully, tested positive for antibodies too, and he recovered fine. But Clint is probably, in terms of victims, the majority. He's probably in the majority. Relatively healthy guy, gets it, fights it off.
But we still don't know what the antibodies do. So
right, we have no idea what it does.
I was talking to my wife yesterday on our walk, and she was like, I think it was the dengue fever that she was talking about. She's like, we don't know if it's going to be like something like, where you build up the antibodies and it's good for you, or if it's like dengue fever, where if you get it the first time, it's not that bad, but the second time you get it, it just basically destroys you. And you get sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker and sicker until you die. Right. Like we don't know what we don't know what this is going to do because we just don't know.
Right.
So
we almost need to see what happens. But then again, we had that small sample size of those 3 sailors, those 3, guys in the Navy on a boat, all had it, recovered, have it again.
Yeah.
So.
But it's a small sample size.
It's a small sample, but see, the problem is the human body is so unique to every individual. We all respond different. This isn't like this universal thing where it happens to you and you all get the same.
The flu shot. It works most of the time because it kind of protects you against the biggest outbreak that's going out there. But there are smaller ones that go out there and you can still get it. There are different versions of the flu, but it does protect you against that one. So it's one of those things. It's like. You got it. Just be careful.
There's more to the rant. I'm not done.
Oh no, I'm sure.
Basically, where this is leading is, look, I know we do not talk. We talk a little bit of politics, probably more so than ever
of late. Yeah.
Now, for those who know me, my friends, my family, I have been a lifelong Republican.
Yes.
Not a Trump Republican. I did not vote for him. I don't need to. I'm not going to explain that again. Let's just say, just a brief recap. 3.5 years ago, when that guy ran, I knew he was not a Republican. I was already concerned about the direction the party was headed. And I wrote in my vote for John Kasich, which felt good from a conscience perspective because I knew I voted. I wrote in a vote for a person who I believed was a good person.
And to be honest, he might have been the best candidate.
He was certainly maybe not certainly, but he was, I would say certainly he was the best Republican available of that.
Yes.
Jeb Bush would have been maybe okay, but Kasich would have been the guy I believe who would have unified the country. I believe he would have worked handily with both sides. He's probably as close to I actually see a lot of my personal preferences in him, socially democratic, fiscally conservative kind of person. Mm-hmm. But I will tell you that I believe for all of us who are in our right minds in November, we have a moral obligation and a duty to go out there and vote. And we need to do everything that we can to vote this monster out of office. Because although I will say this, although Donald Trump is, again, I'm going to stick by that word. He's a monster. He's absolutely a monster walking among us. Mm-hmm. But I also think that he's mentally unfit. I think he's mentally unwell. I think there's absolutely something wrong with him. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I couldn't clinically tell you what I think is wrong with the guy. I don't know if it's a form of dementia or something. I have no idea. But I think to the human eye, to anybody with a brain, anybody from the neck up with a brain, can tell that there is something wrong with Donald Trump. It's clearly a mental issue of some kind. There is a mental capacity error going on there. Mm-hmm. And he's not fit. He's not fit. He's not well. I'm not going to sit here. Look, I'm not going to be one of those people either. I'm not going to go far extreme and say the virus is his fault. The virus is not his fault. Did not originate here. It didn't start. He didn't physically implant this virus into people. Okay. We know where the virus originated from. It got to America. It spread across the globe. Okay. Right. He's not at fault. However, he is extremely guilty and very responsible for, I would say, at least half of the deaths that have taken place in this country. There are so many measures that could have been put in place. He had months in advance notice that this was going on, and he ignored it. And what did he do? He did the thing that you like to do a lot, which is play golf. He went and played golf. Now, I don't have a problem with you playing golf because you're not running the country. You're not the leader of the free world. So you go play golf today because you can do that. Donald Trump should not be playing golf today. He shouldn't have been playing golf any day in the last. I don't care how. Look, I'm not saying presidents cannot enjoy themselves. However, when you're in the middle of a pandemic and it's still raging and running rampant through your country, killing people on a daily basis, thousands of people are dying per day, and you're on a golf course, that's a bad optic. Yeah. And it's also just horrible. Mm-hmm. It's horrible. But what's scary to me more than anything is that when this guy opens his mouth, there are still so many millions of people who hang on his every word, who believe. Now, listen, again, I want to, this is where I want to try to implore upon people who are also Republicans, because I am one, and I am still one. And I used to be a proud one. I'm not now, but I am still a Republican. I'm still a registered Republican. And I proudly voted for George W. Bush twice. And I defended that man until it got to a point where he was no longer defensible. So when you sit here and you're hearing this from me, I'm not a bleeding heart liberal. I am not. I'm not a far to the left person. I'm actually, well, these days now, I'm probably more squarely in the middle, although I might starting to be lean left. But I am telling you right now, if you're a Republican with any inkling of doubt, you need to do your civic duty in November to vote Donald Trump out. I can tell you right now, for the first time in my life, I will pull a blue lever in November. No doubt about it. I will vote for Joe Biden. And listen, Joe Biden's got his own problems. He ain't all there either. He's definitely lost his fastball. There's a lot of issues. But you know what? The one thing I do know about Joe Biden is that if he gets into the office, he'll bring the adults with him. And they'll take this. They will mop this shit up and get things straightened out. But
he won't just fire people that disagree with him.
Right now, or muzzle them, as he's done with Fauci. Fauci's been completely muzzled, but he also, this is like a catch-22 for Trump, because he can't fire Fauci because that's a really bad look, but he can muzzle him. So he could just sit him behind there and let Fauci kind of sit there, shoulders slumped with his mask on and not saying anything anymore. I'm actually, and you know what? This is diabolical. I will say this. Trump is diabolically smart too, because if he fired Fauci, that probably would be the best thing for Fauci and for the country, because then Fauci could go wherever he wants, go on any radio talk show, go on any TV and just trash Trump and just rip him a new one. Yeah. Trump is smart enough to know that. Despite his dementia, he does sometimes see the forest for the trees a little bit, or at least he gets advice from people who are, I'm not going to say competent. I don't believe there's anybody competent in his administration, but we're in this country is bleeding, like literally and figuratively. And I believe I've seen a lot of political cartoons that show a picture of Trump and it says Trump is the virus, and then it shows the voting booth as the cure. And I believe that is true. It may be the only real vaccination that this country can get, is to get him out. I'm telling you right now, that man is mentally unfit for office. He shouldn't be in charge of a playground, much less the country. He's a dangerous individual.
Us
the
liberals,
leader of the free world.
I am a Democrat. I'm a registered Democrat. That's, and I would say I'm very similar to you. Like, whereas I am very liberal in general, but I am conservative with my money. Like, I do, I want to make sure that I invest properly and, and do all that kind of stuff. Like, I would say I'm similar, where we just fall on different lines in other ways, and which is why I'm the Democrat and you're the Republican. But I will say that even us, as the liberal side of things, we miss George W. Bush right now. Because I at least know, and as crazy as his vice president was and everything like that, I know there was smart people. As evil as some of them might have been, or whatever it might have been, like very financially.
It wasn't like this.
It wasn't. It was different, and I think that they were more like W would have listened to Fauci he might not have
Without a
he
doubt.
might not have vocalized it the way that you should have because he just had a hard time. Words
No,
are
no,
tough.
he
Words
was
are tough.
right. I mean, I'd have struggled a bit, but we would have got it right. Yeah, I mean, it would have been, yeah. But I guarantee you, nowhere near as many people would have died.
Yeah, it's a rough time to be.
The
where
other
we
day,
are.
the New York Times on their front cover published
All
their
the-
entire front cover was just 1,000 names of people who died, and it was basically taking a shit on Trump, and it should have been. He's responsible.
Yeah.
He is. Wait, what's the line from The Contender? It's with the movie that I love, which is he's responsible but not guilty. It's either guilty but not responsible, or responsible but not guilty. But that's kind of what this is. He's not responsible for the virus, but he is guilty of a lot of lives being
not
lost.
handling it correctly.
Not handling it correctly.
And it's weird because like a lot of people are just they all saying like this is what we should do. But I know that like so I also heard that like people are like a little confused by the CDC and all that kind of stuff too. Like they say something and then they kind of retract it, and which is making them feel like it's one of those things. It's like just be smart.
And now the CDC retracted, and it hasn't changed anything the way we do things in our house. But they sort of went back on saying, well, now we really don't think it can be transmitted through surfaces that easily. And Melissa, my wife, and I saw that, and we're like, we're not changing the way we do anything.
Yeah.
We're still going to wipe down everything that comes to this house. We're going to leave cardboard boxes outside. I'm not taking my chances with that.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just
until it's proven 100% or 99.9%, as they like to say.
Even then, I may never look at packages the same way. I really might. I believe in some ways this will offer some permanent,
one of the things I did was as soon as like this thing happened, I ordered a bunch of Ring cameras, and I got one for our driveway for where all the packages get delivered, for the front, which I already had one for the front for where the packages get delivered.
We've got the doorbell.
Got for the side and the backyard now too, and I hooked them all up because I was like, I want to make sure that if somebody's taking our packages, I want to know. And when the packages are delivered, I want to know. So this way I can make sure that the kids aren't near them, all that kind of stuff. So like, that's one of the things that I did when this whole thing started.
The last part of my rant too is we have another problem that's going on now, which is essentially bioterrorism. You have these assholes out there who are coughing on people intentionally. They are going into bars, restaurants, retail establishments. They see somebody wearing a mask, they get triggered by it, and then they go up to that person and they start coughing on them. Now, whether they have coronavirus or not, even in a non-pandemic time, that's a felony.
Yeah.
That is a crime.
Yeah.
You're pushing your germs onto other people. In a pandemic, it's bioterrorism. As far as I'm concerned, it's attempted fucking murder. Those people, and there was, thankfully, a story. I think there was the New York Times had a story about a guy who did it. He's facing multiple years in prison, and he was fined $26,000. There have to be consequences for that shit.
Yeah.
There have to be repercussions for people who are going to just.
I remember when this
kill a person.
When this whole thing first started, I was in the grocery store, and like this was like when it just started, and people were just starting to panic, and like, I mean, this is months ago. I was in the grocery store, and I was walking around grabbing food and trying to fill up the cart as big as I could to make sure that we were prepared. And there were a couple of kids who were joking about this whole thing, and they went around it and started like going down aisles going, and I was like, dude, I'm thinking to myself, you are going to get yourself hurt because somebody's going to come over here.
Somebody's going to knock you down.
You right in the mouth because of your joking around about this. Like that is what's going to start a riot. Like, do not.
I'm glad I actually haven't gone into a store. I mean, our whole life now is basically based on Instacart orders. So, and it's what a godsend. I mean,
Omaha steaks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And look, I mean, it's I mean, actually, in some ways, I sort of feel good about Instacart. I mean, yes, partially it's because I don't want to go into any stores, but again, my circumstances are different than a lot of people's too, as are yours.
Yeah.
You and I both have different circumstances, people at home that we have to be very protective of. And now, do I like the idea of sending other people to do my dirty work? No, not really. I don't. But I will say this. One, I know the grocery store situation is very different now too than it was before. It's actually a much safer place than it was before.
They like only let people walk down one aisle, like kind of like a maze
it's,
almost.
Right, it's a maze. It's actually the Stu Leonard's marketing brand, except it's now it's we're doing it to fight off pandemia. But whereas Stu Leonard's did it for marketing, the way Stu Leonard structures their stores is that you have to go through the entire store to get to the end, which is I thought brilliant. Now it's actually being done out of like necessity.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing though. Look, I'm still giving business to grocery stores, and I'm actually helping other people who are employed at the same time. I mean, you're giving jobs to people. Instacart is providing jobs to people. You get to tip those people. I try to tip people 20% every time, and regardless of the size of the order, and I feel a little bit better about that. I mean, do I feel great about it? No, I would prefer to be able to go out and do it myself, but hey.
Well, when you go out and shop yourself, you can pick out the good stuff, like you can go through and you can, but more at a different time.
I will tell you though,
not as privileged.
I think I've said this to you before. I know I've said it to my family. If I never go into a grocery store again, it would not break my heart. I could completely 100% live with doing Instacart for the rest of my life, however long that is. I have no problem with that. I really don't, because same thing with Walmart too. Honestly, I think I've said it before. The things I miss the most are sports, going to the movies with the kids, going to malls. I do miss going to malls. I do like shopping. I do like going to Yankee Candle and sniffing every fucking candle in sight. I mean, I really miss grabbing a guy. And imagine from like a germ perspective, that's gross. That's gross. I will probably not do that again. Like those days in general may be gone. It will take a long time for my trust to build back up to the point where I could go into a Yankee Candle, grab 13, 16 bottles, put those things up to my nose, grabbing, glass toppers that I know have been touched by probably at least 12 to 15 other people, and sniffing a candle.
Yeah.
Same thing even with Bath and Body Works, man. I used to go in there, unscrew some of the tops of the soap. Ooh, what do you think, Belle? This one smells good, right? Yeah. I don't know when that's happening again. But man, this nation is really in a bad way right now. Not just from this pandemic, but we are getting an even bigger glimpse of the ugly underbelly that exists within people. And look, I'm not saying every single Trump supporter out there is this kind of a clown, but for those people out there who insist on coughing on other people and trying to, I don't even know what you call that. I mean, other than bioterrorism, that is just, that's not funny. It's not a joke. People have died. I do know a person. I have a friend who I used to work with many years ago. Her brother passed away from this. This is real. It's not a joke. It's fucking real.
Yeah.
And enough is enough with this crap. And unfortunately, a lot of the decisions that have been made in the wake of this fall squarely and solely on the shoulders of the president, who is completely unfit for office and who needs to be voted out of there as soon as humanly possible. And again, I'm going to repeat it again so you can hear it, so it doesn't sound like it's coming from some bleeding heart liberal who you think is trying to keep you in your house because for some strange reason he wants to see the economy collapse. I am telling you, as a Republican, as a guy who has voted red his entire life, as a guy who vehemently, brazenly, and defiantly supported George W. Bush for not one term, but 8 years. I dressed my kids in George W. Bush, Dick Cheney onesies. That is not a joke. I put Republican clothing on my children. When I tell you, America, like the two people who may hear this, that I am to my core Republican, believe it. Believe it. Ask Damian Dayton, who he and I have gotten in many arguments over politics.
I don't know if you remember this, but when we first moved to this house, there was a big poster of George W. on the thing, and it was about
Cool. You still have it? I'll take it.
no. That's where I'm going with this. So like, I had the first person I thought of when I saw W
Me?
was you, because we moved into this house and they left it here, and it was a thing. It was a whole poster. It was in 2x4s, and the guy who lived here before was a Republican, and he had posted it out on his driveway, and it just was W, like going like this or something like that, and it said on it, "I'm back," because it's when he got voted in for his next term.
Hey, and I helped put him there.
You were the first person I thought of, and I took a picture and sent it to you. This is about 3-4 years ago, whenever it was when I moved here. And you were like, "Oh, can I have that?" I'm like, "Sorry, I already threw it in the trash."
Exactly.
I already cut it up and threw it in the trash.
There you go. So when you're hearing this from me, please know you're not hearing this from some Democrat who you think has an agenda. No. My only agenda is to try and make sure that, my God, I just hope no more lives are lost.
Yeah.
It's incalculable, as the New York Times called it. Incalculable, the amount of deaths from this.
I don't know if you've watched the SGN with John Krasinski.
Oh yeah, some good news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
I like it.
My wife has been watching that like pretty much every Friday. I think every Friday night.
I haven't watched all of
And
them, but I
catch some of it. It's very, very nice. Very heartwarming.
definitely enjoyed the one where Emily Blunt was right there, and like she kicked off the show, and I was like, oh man, we need some more Emily Blunt. God, that guy lives the life.
You
Look,
like those push-ups.
what a life. Oh, what a life. What a life. He's got to be like the most blessed guy on the planet. Think about it. A great acting career, good looking.
Yeah.
Hottest wife on the planet. Just, oh my God. My goodness. British accent too. Oh, God. It's like the whole package.
She's Mary Poppins.
Oh, she's just awesome.
All right. So I think that's pretty much it for our show today.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to end. Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
Wake up, America. Wake up in November. Please. Please.
Yeah, it's coming.
And here's
several months away.
Can I just give some advice to Joe Biden real quick? Just don't make the mistake Hillary made 4 years ago. In those swing states, the Michigans, the Wisconsins, the Wyomings, especially in those areas, especially in some of those areas where you have the platform to speak to a large number of African American voters, don't fuck that up. Don't ignore those states. Now, I don't have to worry about Biden doing that because Joe Biden fancies himself the African American president here. So, fine, great. Put your money where your mouth is. Get into those territories and get those votes, because that's how you're going to win this election. You're going to win this election the same way that Hillary screwed it up 4 years ago by you don't ignore. And the other thing, don't underestimate this motherfucker.
That's what you don't want.
Don't underestimate him, and don't underestimate his legion.
Plays on fear.
His legion of these. You know what I also don't understand about people who like Trump? How do they even relate to him? They're the actual people that he probably thinks the least of. They're these backcountry hicks who came out of their shanties and out from under their rocks after this guy got elected, and they have somehow propped him up to be their messiah. And I can't figure it out because he's
brash
nothing like them.
He kind of talks like them though. He's brash and just says what's on his mind and just goes and that's relatable. But
that's the only relatable part,
right? He also has done so many things. Like,
can they relate to him?
Yeah, like he is. Yeah.
I mean, he's the opposite of that. He's not. First of all, he's not even a self-made man. He's a daddy's made man. Yeah. I mean, it's ridiculous. How do you even relate to this guy? There's no. It's unconscionable, to be honest. Quite frankly, we got to do our part, America. We all have an obligation in November. We really do. And again, Republican, telling you to vote for Joe Biden. He's not perfect, but my God, he's the elixir that we need right now. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
God bless America.
Happy Memorial Day. We hope you stay safe and enjoy this time. If you're going to do some sort of barbecue outside, please stay 6 feet away. as much as you can
From the fire.
Yeah, well,
And the
yes,
flame.
from
And 6 feet away from the people.
Yes, 6 feet away
Except
from the
for the family.
and then yeah, you can huddle up in your own family and just
Yeah,
do that.
stay away from them too.
Yeah, and then if it's burgers and stuff that's being on the grill,
Burgers and
bring
dogs.
bring your own spatula and cook them for your own family.
Yeah.
like that's the only way to kind of stay as safe as possible, but that's probably not even that great. So I don't know.
Also, if you have a moment today, spare a thought or a prayer, whatever your preference is for those not only whose lives were lost, but also for those serving in the military right now.
Yes,
this is their day. This is the day we honor them. Every day we honor them, but this is our day of remembrance for that. So please do that as well.
And the people who lost their lives due to this thing and this coronavirus, and then also
it's a Memorial Day for, unfortunately,
all the medical workers that are out there that are just doing what they can. And
we put on our windows on the top, our house. So we've got across the top of our house five windows, and we put big letters "Thank you" across the windows.
Nice.
And there,
yeah. Thank you to the grocery store workers, the Instacart workers, the UPS, the FedEx drivers.
My God, thank you so much, the Instacart people.
This is keeping our country going. I still think there's better ways to tackle this, and I just don't particularly love the way that they're handling the economy. But that's a debate amongst friends, and I don't need to do all that right now. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed listening to the show. It was a little bit more politic heavy, but we did spend a good 30 minutes almost on the match. So I don't really agree with teams practicing and all that kind of stuff as much as I want to see baseball again. I don't really agree with it, but what are you going to do? It's out of my hands.
I have one other piece of advice for Joe Biden. He's going to pick a running mate. He may have already picked her. It is a female, by the way. We know that, which is great. My preference would be Val Demings, who is in the House of Representatives, Congresswoman from Florida, which is a massive swing state. And if he won Florida, which has generally gone Republican in recent years, that would be a big coup for him. It would probably swing the election. Val Demings is a very doesn't have a long term in office, but great background. She was the Orlando chief of police. Her husband's a very high profile in Florida, and from what I understand, she's very well respected in the state of Florida. That would be if he could
like the
get
resume that should be respected.
And she's African American. I mean, I think she could help bring him a lot of votes. So that would be my preference. Although I think Michelle Obama would be intriguing too, but I don't see that happening. It would be very intriguing, but I don't see it happening. But I'd be fine with that too. I mean, you want to talk about high profile? That's the name.
She's a smart lady, for sure. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. You can find me on Twitter at @IHonersFinkel and on Instagram at @HappyMacaboy.
You can find me on Twitter at @the_Bri_man.
And you can also find the show on Twitter at Shane and Bri Man, and on Facebook at Shane and the Bri Man at gmail.com. My son's staring at me through the door over there. He's like,
"Hey, Cam!"
Got a big smile on his face because he wants me to go download something for him and fix his Fortnite account so he can play it on the PS4. So he's what?
Yes, sir.
Yes. He's over there.
Get your ass off your podcast.
Yeah. He's panting at the door like the dog was a little while ago. All right, so that's pretty much it for our show. Thank you for watching.
Part of the journey is the end. Stay classy, Planet Globe. Oh, we should also mention very quickly going out. Did you see the news about I'm so excited about this. We are going to get the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. On HBO Max or whatever?
HBO Max, yeah.
In about a year, basically, right? I think in a year.
Yep.
Oh, my God. I need to survive this pandemic so I can see that.
That'll be interesting.
Among other reasons, but that's one of the reasons.
Very interesting, yeah. I want to I'm looking forward to that.
Well, the thing I'm looking forward to is
sure.
it said 75% of it is going to be completely different. That's basically the movie.
Yeah.
So pick the 25% of things that you liked in Justice League. Those will be in there still. And then there's going to be 75% new stuff.
Yeah.
75%.
That's a lot.
A lot. That just goes to show, who was it? Joss Whedon who
Yeah.
took that over?
Mhm.
He really, and I like Joss Whedon. I
He
actually
did a
like
great
him.
Avengers movie. The first one was great. Ultron.
Yeah.
I did
No.
not like Ultron.
No.
He
No.
screwed up that character.
I watched Endgame again a little bit. Well,
Yeah.
not all of it, but some of it this weekend. I
movies-
find myself watching Rise of Skywalker a lot too. That movie's growing on me.
Is it?
Yeah. Not sure why.
It's not bad. It's just not.
No.
It's not. It's not great.
I don't think it's the 55% that it's on Rotten Tomatoes either.
It's not what we wanted.
No. It is like the Joe Girardi movies. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. It's not what we want, but it's what we got.
Oh, speaking of that, I hope we have baseball back soon. I'll take baseball in any form. Any way, shape, or form we can get it would be fine.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, bye.
Peace out. Bye. See you next Monday, or who knows? Who knows what we'll do? We never know. I'm not sure. We'll come back soon. I am not a crook.
Yeah.